Stretching. Hey guys, Bolt here. So we're doing a quick little summary slash theorizing of the Mandela Catalogue Vol.5, as the title suggested. Um, so this will be releasing the 9th. So it's been about a week since the release. Um, but I wanted to give my thoughts. I still am waiting for people to make actual content on it. The only person that I watch for reaction one of the few people I watch for reactions had really not much to add to the conversation and not much of a difference of opinion than my general thoughts. Um, so I guess we were spoiled this. I never got to hear or these teasers, leaks, or whatever. I kind of just whatever was on YouTube was, unless like he said it in the comments. But I guess Jude Murray, the father of Adam, and the husband of the distressed woman as her child went missing, um, he's alive for a little bit at least. So it looks like as he's calling for help, and we have Thatcher, I think it is, or Davis. I forgot what it. I think it was Davis Thatcher or whatever. But our main cop that we have in the current timeline, he contacts them, does the normal, like, hey, are you here? Do you see this person? And is doing the normal, I'll let them die because I can't do anything at this point, but I will make him calm down. But it, you can hear it in the very beginning that it's supposed to be the intruder coming in. It's just some random looking person, and he leaves after a certain point. And in the end, this makes it to where let's see. I don't remember if the call was like in the completion. I think his wife had been distressed and unstressed very quickly, and then his son was taken. And then he makes that call, and then he leaves the home. Or he does this before it and leaves them to it. But I believe him leaving them to the alternates is what ends up happening, because he's terrified. He's doing a fight or flight response, and he's choosing flight, which personally, if you're a father, you're going to find your kid first, and you're going to inform your wife or significant other to leave with, but he probably didn't have too much time. But anyways, the entire episode is him getting told to go hide to a certain building, stay there until he would get picked up by a car and driven outside Mandela County, which at this time there isn't a lot of spread from Mandela. The alternates are kind of like they're out there, but you're only going to mostly see them in Mandela. So if he moves, he probably has a very rare chance of running into them again. And it's basically him having like PTSD of leaving his son behind, and like the constant feeling that thing's going to come back. And then when he goes to get picked up, either a new alternate known as N, which I believe is either there's N and there's the intruder. They're both in this episode, I'm pretty sure, because there's a lot of imagery mentions, and they even have a plushie for intruder. So I'm betting he's kind of has something to do with this episode. Based on the way he talks at the end, it feels like the intruder is the one who finds him, and is the one who is in the home back then as well. Also, N is kind of like we have a little report from Agent Brooke or Books, or I forgot what it is, Brooker, Booker, uh, and basically a bunch of alternates are just passively watching him and transforming into him. There was a total of 3 different. I think there was a 4th, but it looks more like Ruth to me. I will not lie. We didn't really get to see a face of Agent Booker to kind of base off of what he's supposed to look like. But it looks like alternates aren't just attacking you. They're watching you, going to be mimicking you. It's basically, what is it? Vita Carnes, where it's basically the mimic will stand by until it can like prey on you, but it will take little inspirations from the human agenda to kind of get around pretty easily. The Booker, though, does run into these things, and they're not even aggressive towards him. So it looks like they have different like motives. They're kind of more of like, we'll use your face first to drum up as much as possible, and then if you interfere, or we eventually will replace you on the planet of the Earth. Yeah, there's that, and then we go back to Jude, and it's basically just like, there's like these little cartoons of a shepherd, which, basically how it looks built is it's supposed to be Jude's, like, metaphorical figure, and it basically looks like that Gabriel has came to Jude, and basically said, your little one will be okay, you, as long as you listen to my voice, you'll be fine, and he gets introduced to probably his wife, which I think is Lynn, if I remember correctly, but, basically this family is, like, getting watched over by this alternate Gabriel, and he's trying to convince Jude into possibly being either a double agent for the alternates or being the alternate that Adam is where he's human, but yet he's an alternate. You know, he has all the tendencies he thinks he is. Like, his mentality is built to be human, but he is built to serve for the alternates. And we see this imagery of it was supposed to be him, which it's either that he was supposed to take his wife's place as the distressed parent, or he was supposed to be the human-ish alternate, which I believe that he's supposed to be the messenger of the alternates. He's supposed to be probably someone who can talk, sweet talk people into being okay with the alternates. But it's still unclear at this point. But we do know that Gabriel is very focused on Jude throughout this episode. And through these little, like, stop-motion animations, basically the shepherd meets the farmer, which means him and his wife, most likely. His baby sheep dies, but gets brought back, but in a very wrongful way, or it's a black sheep. It's very hard to see the visual difference, especially on my phone, but, it doesn't look right to him. It's an outlier. Even though it might look beautiful as a living being, it's still wrong in his eyes as a shepherd. So as a human being, most likely Adam would have been, like, based on this story, it makes me think that Jude was supposed to be a caretaker for the new baby alternate Adam. or this, growing alternate. He was supposed to be a caretaker to keep at him, uh, be more sociable with humans. Like having this extra figure in his life would have made his humanity more. Um, but we kind of see that he's still like, that's not mine, that's not mine. Well, that's, the shepherd's like, it's wrong. And then he asks if the being that visited him was holy. And then the voices that look and mimic Stanley, the voice that is on the telly that makes you imagine alternates into the real life. Like that shows up in like sand in the in this like cartoonish area, and is basically mentioning overthrown. Like, hey, two other shepherds have been visited by this entity, and this was supposed to be the telling of Jesus, but in the end he ended up just saying he was the one, which makes you think about where the Jesus figure is. But anyways, it mentions that those guys were fooled, that they were taken advantage of, and he wants to do this again with this Jude counterpart, the shepherd. And there's another voice that says this he has a lot more convincing to do. He has yet to fully convince you. Do not let him. And he's like, listen to me. Are you listening to me? Don't let this happen. And we switch back to the farmer and the shepherd meeting together that night. And basically, they're mingling, and the Gabriel alternate shows up, kills the farmer, which Lynn, or his wife, Jude's wife, and then shows him outside his own home what looks like, to my interpretation as a Christian, it looks like the bed of Jesus, but it has a mass that's moving. And I think that's supposed to be showing that a Messiah for the alternates has been born, and that this is supposed to be the Adam representation. Like, I've taken your little one and I have brought forth a recreation in my eyes of this person. And then we see the Gabriel counterpart looming over behind him. It also could that last minute, it may not just be Adam. It can also mention that this was supposed to be a Jesus story again, and maybe they replaced Jesus yet again with an alternate. Maybe this was what happened to. Maybe the story that we're learning is actually Mary and Joseph's story, where Mary was told by an angel about it, but I believe that she may hold on. Let me double check Overthrown. I think Overthrown was okay. So yes, it's going over the Jesus born. Gabriel's alternate shows up to Mary. He speaks the truth, I believe, which makes you think the mad disease is inflicted on her. And then he shows up to Joseph. So either he did what he's doing to the Murray family, but he did it to the birth of Jesus, or this is supposed to be kind of like to prevent Jesus from being born. He told the unspoken truth to Mary and Joseph, and they died by mad, because he speaks truths that the humans can't comprehend. Anyways, that's about it for that. And then, so it's basically just Jude trying to get away from what happened. He's trying to get away from Mandela, but it sounds like O'Brien, the one who got the tech guy killed, him and I believe it's supposed to be like a leader of a community to like get away from Mandela and knows why they're trying to get away from Mandela. I believe O'Brien and this leader are alternates at this point, and they speak to Jude on the phone and through like O'Brien. I think was making the note that about the house, and it's very weird. Like it is so hard to tell between human and alternate at this point, because it's like I think the very first conversation could be the leader trying to be like, okay, we will have this set up, but then they have N or the intruder pop up the night that he's supposed to take off, and they're blocking the door. I think this was supposed to be a, hey, you can trust whoever comes to your home. Get out there and meet him, which would have allowed the intruder / N into the house. And then the second call was trying to get underneath the skin of Jude, where it's just like, blame yourself for the death of your child and wife. You were cowardice, and you should not be living. Which I believe that second call is definitely an alternate, being like, take your life. This is your fault. Which is basically how alternates, I don't think we've seen them physically harm a human being. They've only whispered or told you something to make you go off the deep end and do the deed yourself. Because we see this with Mark, because Mark ends up taking his blick and using it. I believe we may have seen Jonah. Jonah may have actually died by a alternate, but I think that was Adam's alternate, or his like alternate self. So it's just very confusing on what they can do and what they will do to people. But basically, they're just like, do it. This is your fault. Take responsibility for it. And we do get to see at the very end that I think Jude does, even though he lived not long, like, I think this episode was to go only a few months, maybe a few weeks after, our initial, like, the death of, the taking of Adam. So I think it's only been a few months at the best. But it really doesn't seem like it's taken long. It could even be days, but it's very short time after that incident where I think he's died. He's died at the end, because we see Jude is supposed to be, I think, short for Judas, and I think he was supposed to be this follower of Gabriel, and because he did not do his wishes, that he was and he he betrayed alternate Gabriel, that the imagery of either the shepherd or Jude hanged. I think this was supposed to be a Judas on Jude kind of thing. Like, they're very similar situations, which it's weird. You're throwing Joseph and Judas on this one guy who's now the father of a Messiah of the alternates, or he's the the betrayer of this leader of a religious group. But anyways, we get introduced to a medication that might be the reason why we get to see the alternates, because they are on another spectrum, and maybe having these pills lets you see into the spectrum. But the thing is, my theory is that these aren't supposed to let you see the alternates, because the beginning of the commercial makes you think that you've already seen an alternate, and that these things are supposed to decrease your. Either they're supposed to help deal with the the mental problem or this is supposed to be it's supposed to make you slip because it makes you hallucinate. But at the end, it looks like he's taken a lot. So he may have overdosed at the end. But anyways, yeah, it's a very confusing story. It makes it sound like Jude is supposed to be this big figure that was either supposed to be the caretaker of Adam, or he was supposed to be the person that becomes the alternate that's snuck into the humanity, or he was supposed to be in place of Lynn, his wife, to be the distressed parent. But based on what it sounds like is that Gabriel has came and talked to Jude, and he is supposed to be his follower. Anyways, I got some food to go pull out, and I also had to at least get one more video done before leaving today. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.